Welcome to the present. If you join for the first time, do me that kind favor by liking the video. Make sure you subscribe. You're yet to subscribe. Do me that honor and favor too. And lastly, make sure you turn on the notification bell. So we are going to be previewing Newcastle versus Arsenal on Saturday. That's for me on paper. That is the biggest game on Saturday in the English Premiership. We know Newcastle have been doing beats this season. They actually had a decent, more than a decent result against Manchester United in the Carabao Cup, where they made several changes and still, have that temerity, the audacity to go and beat Manchester United at Old Trafford. Regardless of what you want to say, Manchester United in a dumpster, they are struggling, but that's a big result for Newcastle. We are playing them on. Unfortunately, we don't share the same fortune against West Ham. Unfortunately, we exited the Carabao Cup due to our 3-1 loss to West Ham at the London Stadium. So the match on Saturday against Newcastle should be a very, very interesting one. I expect both teams to go full throttle. We know Arsenal made a few changes, even though we tried to rescue the match against West Ham, the Carabao Cup, by bringing our big guns, but for me it was a tad too late. Newcastle rested some of their big guns, and they had some. For me, they had a good result. So let's look at some of the injuries to both teams. Give me a moment. Let me bring up the slide real quick. Yes, let's put this on the screen right now. So let me take this out. So if you see, they have Tonali suspended. That's not an injury. Matt Target is out. Jacob Murphy is out. Luis Mikey is out. Isaac, they are one of their top strikers, is out. One of their top defenders is Sven Botman is out. Harvey Benz is out. So Newcastle have a few injuries to deal with, but they still have a decent squad. They still have Callum Wilson, which for me is a decent striker. They still have Bruno Gomares in midfield. Willock just came back. We saw Willock play against Manchester United. So they are not as bare bone or spineless as some of you would think. Yes, they have Isaac. For me, it was a big miss for them in the striking position. Yes, they have Botman, who is one of their best defender out. That was a miss for them. But they still have some decent players that they can call on. So let's look at Arsenal's injury list too. We know Yuri Timber's out for till the next year. He had that injury, he suffered that injury since the beginning of the season. So that one we're never expecting to be part of the game. Smith Rowe unfortunately suffered an injury during the week. According to Arteta, he has a slight knee injury. He's going to be out for weeks. Thomas Partey. Oh Lord. We all know Thomas Partey is a regular fixture every season. For the last 3 seasons or 4 seasons, he's always missing he's always missing too many matches for me. So it's time we'll actually find a permanent solution to this incessant absence of Thomas Partey. Unfortunately, Gabriel Magalhaes is out and hamstring injury. So Thomas Partey and Gabriel Jesus, are key injuries for us. So we have to deal with Nketiah, regardless of the insult. A lot of you are holding on Nketiah regarding the match against West Ham. I get it. My ratings have not changed. My appraisal of Nketiah has not changed, even though it's not as harsh as most of you are. Some of you are very, very harsh. I get it. Arsenal should be doing better than Nketiah. Arsenal can do better than Nketiah. I understand. But it's not as horrible as some of you are painting it. And there is no other option. So all this Ivan Toney nonsense, Ivan Toney for me will not even be the solution in January. Trust me, don't fall for the English hype. It is not as good as some of you are painting it. Most of you are just desperate for anything. So let's see what Arsenal will plan to do if they decide to do anything in January or not. But for now, whether you like it or not, Nketiah, aside from Kai Havertz and Trossard who can play there, Nketiah is the other option. Supporting. I think Nketiah will play better with better players. Yes, against West Ham, we made a few changes, especially in midfield. Our midfield, for me, was kind of lacking energy, lacking physicality, and West Ham took advantage of that. Now, if you bring in the main guys, the fortunes might not rapidly overly change, but for me, it won't be as bad as we played against West Ham. So let's support him. And we still have Kai Havertz. It might decide to move Kai Havertz to the false 9 position, but I'll prefer to play Newcastle this weekend with Kai Havertz in the midfield, even though a lot of you somehow, because of your agenda, are turning a blind eye that Kai Havertz, he might not be that aesthetically pleasing yet because you expect a lot of play from Kai Havertz, but he has been very effective in the midfield. Whether you want to accept it or not, he has been very effective in the midfield. So whether he decided to play Kai Havertz in the midfield or as a false nine, Kai Havertz has to start that game. I'm hoping to see Odegaard back in the team. We saw him in the twilight of the game against West Ham. He played the last few 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So hopefully, barring no setback, he should be ready for the Newcastle game. Rice should be starting. Touchwood, no injury. He should be starting the game against Newcastle. Unfortunately, he couldn't start in the midway, but we're trying to see whether Arteta denies it. It doesn't say it expressly. He is factoring that we have 3 massive games to come, and you don't want to overload the players, especially when you have party out. So you have to make sure you are sensible with how you manage the minutes of the players. So I expect Declan Rice back. I expect Saliba back at the back. I expect Tomiyasu to start at the left back. Unfortunately, the last few performances of Zinchenko have not been the best, especially in the Carabao Cup that we crashed out against West Ham. He was awful, but doesn't mean all of you should suddenly forget all the good Zinchenko has done. Suddenly is the worst thing that's come out of Arsenal. We need to just be a little bit more sensible in our criticism of play. I'm not saying you can't criticize players, but when you go to our personal abuse and you're calling them absolute rubbish, come on, Zinchenko is not rubbish. I get it. He's not defensively the best we can get, right? I get Tomiyasu is a better defender than him. He lacks defensive awareness sometimes. He lacks concentration sometimes. But come on, he's not as awful as most of you are labeling Zinchenko. So I expect Saliba, Gabriel, Ben White, unfortunately, scored that own goal against West Ham. Carabao Cup. It's not his fault. These things can happen in football. So I'm expect Raya back to the goalpost. We saw shenanigans. Ramsdale was embroidered that led to the concession of that first goal. So I expect Raya back to control the box. I expect the back four will be Ben White, Saliba. Gabriel needs to fix up. He has some iffy moments in the game. So I'm expecting Gabriel and Tomiyasu in the midfield. I'm expecting to see Odegaard, Rice, and Kai Havertz. Then we know the attack is going to be Martinelli, Saka, and Nketiah. It is what it is. Most of you don't like Nketiah for now because of his horrible performance he had against West Ham. But it's all we've got for now. So we have to support him. And guess what? He might surprise us. The only thing I think about, how do I put it? Nketiah is not consistent, and I get it. Nketiah is not Jesus. I get it. Arsenal can do better than Nketiah. I agree. But Nketiah is not as horrible as some of you are painting him. He can still do a job. I will not be surprised if he scores against Newcastle on Saturday. Yes, Nketiah, all of you are maligning. All of you want out of the team. Come on. The defeat against West Ham was disappointing. Let's not throw the baby out of the bathwater. Let's calm down. So it should be a tough game. It should be a very tough game. Newcastle are not to be told with. They are doing decently well. I expect us. We know St. James's Park is going to be rocking. The fans at Newcastle, they love their football. They know their football is going to be rocking. But I expect us to calm it down. I expect the maturity and professional performance from our players. I expect us to silence the crowd. Possibly, let's not concede the first goal. Let's not be sloppy. Let's control. Let's not play to the occasion. Let's play a professional game. We know the Newcastle fans and the Newcastle players will be very emotional. They will want an emotional game. We mustn't give them an emotional game. Stay on task. We know if you give them an emotional game, they'll have the referees on their side. Let's make sure we do not make the referees the star people of this game. We know VR can be a fast. We know the referees in England are comedians. So let's make sure we hold our fate to our hands. Play well, score goals, and keep it professional. We must not engage in an emotional game because we will lose if we do that. And the best we can get if we do an emotional game will be a draw. So let's keep it tight, let's keep it sensible, and let's make it professional. I'm predicting a 3-1 victory. I think it's not impossible to keep a clean sheet, but I think they might nick one in. But I think we'll be too strong for them because they want an emotional game. And if we keep it tight, we keep it very sensible and logical, we will win that game. We have better players, in my opinion. We have better defenders, midfield. All they have is their fan base, maybe home support, and maybe an emotional game they want to play. So let's keep it tight, let's keep it professional. And I'm predicting a 3-1. Let me know in the comment section what your prediction will be like. Drop it in the comment section. So guys, don't forget to like the video. Very, very important. Subscribe. You're here to subscribe and make sure you turn notification bells on. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.